Before we solve the case in UiPath, let's make a game plan. So we want to search for several topics here in Amazon, for example, Excel, and then we want to scrape the results. We want all of the data. So I made an Excel sheet with 5 topics: SQL, C#, VB.NET, RPA, and AutoHotkey. We want to make a search for each of these topics, and then the data for the searches. For example, this Excel, we want to store it into a separate sheet. Let's build that. I can close this Excel sheet down now. Then I move to the front page because we will use this link here. Let me copy it. Control C and go back to UiPath. The first thing we will do is to open up a browser. Like this. Drag it in. And then we need to enter a URL. I go down to variables. So instead of hard coding it, I create it here. So str URL. And then I make quotation marks here in the value and paste in the URL. I can minimize it. And then we can just put in the value, the variable here. This has the advantage that if we change the URL, we can just change it down here in our variables manager. So if we use it in like 4 activities, we can just change it once. Also, we can have arguments or assets from Orchestrator that will go in, and then it will be best practice to make variables for them. So now we open up the browser, then we can read the Excel sheet. So let's find an Excel application scope. The workbook path, well, I placed my workbook here on the desktop, so shift right click, then copy as path. Then I will go back to UiPath. I will create another variable for the same reasons as I created the URL. So I will create a str Excel workbook like this, and then I will paste it in here like this. Now we can type in the Excel workbook up here. So we want to read this Excel sheet into a data table. A data table is nothing more than an Excel sheet, an advanced Excel sheet in the memory. So it looks like the Excel sheet, but it's just stored in the memory. So it's with rows and columns. Just imagine that. So I find a read range. Be sure to take the one under Excel activities. We drag this guy in. What do we want to read? We want to read sheet 1. So I named my sheet with the topic sheet 1, so we can put that in here. If your sheet is named otherwise, then you will have to change this. Then we will store it into a data table. So Control K, DT, we can call it topic, like this. Now we can iterate through each row of this sheet. So let's find a for each row. We drag this guy in. So for each row in this dt topic, then we want to do something. The first thing that we want to do is to navigate to front page, because if we have made an Excel search like this, then we want to be sure that we are on a blank page and not this Excel sheet with Excel site with different selectors and or something typed in here. So let's move to the front page. And that is quite easy, because we will just do a navigate to, drag it in. We can navigate to the URL that we created for the Amazon. This one will just take us to the front page like this. Now we can type something in. So we can type our search in. That's the topics. So let's find a type into, drag it in here. Indicate the element in the browser. So click here. And then we need to have the browser open. So let me just maximize at least. So we will go back and indicate it again. We will indicate the search field because that's where we want to type in our search. So click up here. You can see the yellow ones. And what do we want to type in? We want to type whatever in the current row and then in the topic column. We only have that column here, but we could have several columns. So here we say topic. And because it's an Excel object, we need to convert it to a string like this. Then we just need to either click search or we can just click enter. Let's choose enter, that's the easiest one, because then we just click the plus sign here and then find an enter key, like this. Now we can do the data scraping, and what I will do here is that I'll go down here to the end and I will click the data scraping wizard. Click here. And the first thing we need to do is select the first element. So let's find a search. We can take SQL. That's fine. The first element, that's this element. So it says select element. Then we click next, and we can select the element that we want to scrape. We could choose only to scrape the text here. Then we could take the price afterwards and so on. But I want to scrape all data here. So I'll select the whole thing. The second element, that will be this one. So I'll click next, and now I can select this element. Then UiPath, the data scraping wizard, will automatically find a pattern. We can see it here. What do we want to call the column name? We can just call it result. Like this. Then we click next. We can see that a preview of our results, they are here. So all the data that's stored here. And we can just click finish. It's asking us if data spanning multiple pages. Well, actually it is. It's spanning like 20 pages. You can see it here. But we only want to extract this page 1. But you can extract more if you want it. I'll just click no here. Now we're done. What we want to do is we want to take this extract structured data. I can either cut or copy it. And then I want to delete the rest of the data scraping sequence. So delete that. Then right under the type into, I paste in the data extraction here. We can see that we have an unsolved error. And that is because this extracted data table is no longer defined because we deleted the whole sequence. So let me delete this, then press Ctrl K, DT extract, I can call it, like this. So now we have made the search for each of the topics. We extract the data for all the topics. And now we can just write to our Excel sheet. So I will find a right range. It's here. I will drag this guy in. Where do we want to write? Well, we want to write to a sheet called the topic search. So whatever was the topic that we searched for, we want to type that in here. So that one will be row, then item, quotation mark, topic to string. And if you are really smart, you can see that that was actually the same as we wrote up here. Then we need to specify what cell we want to start in. Usually, that is, if we have nothing here, it will be A1, and it says A1. I usually delete this because sometimes this can be a range that we don't want. So I always delete the starting cell unless we have a reason not to. Then we want to add the headers over here. The data table we want to add, that's the DT extract, like this. Now we can actually run the workflow, but maybe we will, in the end, like after we're done with this for each row, then we could close down our browser. So we could have a close application like this. We drag in the close application just outside the for each. Let us just verify that we are outside. We can see it here from the blue line, we are indeed out. Then we need to indicate the element. So let me maximize the browser again. I will indicate the element here. And the element is just this browser instance here. So I'll click here. And then we need to tune the selector. So click the 3 ribbons here, click edit the selector. And here we can see that we are closing Amazon Co. UK SQL Internet Explorer. And of course we only wanna close it wherever we are, because it's not certain that SQL is the last result. So I'll just close all Internet Explorers here. We can validate and see that the selector indeed still works. Now we can run the file. So let me close down our browser and then run our file. The first thing that we'll do is to open up a browser after we run the flow. Then we will, after we have opened up our browser and navigated to amazon.co UK, we will read the Excel sheet. We'll do that in a few seconds. Here we read the Excel sheet, it's still visible. And then we will do the searches, SQL first, and then with data scrape. happened, and we're done. Let's verify that we indeed get the results that we wanted here in the data sheet. So I'll open up this Excel sheet, and we can see that in a few seconds at least. We can see that we indeed have scraped the 5 topics, that is auto hotkey. We can scroll a little bit down. We can see that each book is in a different cell. And you know, this one, they are quite long because that's all our data. The price, the ratings, everything is in here. So if we wanted to extract this data even more, we would have to use something like regex. I made a good regex guide, at least I think myself. I'll link to that in the description. So that's it. That's how easy it is to data scrape in UiPath.